So, there's this fantastic Wikipedia list descriptively titled Wikipedia: Unusual Articles. I just remember it as that Wikipedia list. It's a collection of hundreds of articles about unusual, unexpected, and unbelievable subjects. No matter what link you click, it's bound to be interesting. For that reason, every week I'm going to click on a new link and teach you a little bit more about our amazing world. With that, let's find this week's article. Oh, you know what? I know what this is. We're going to do this. So, believe it or not, there's still land on Earth that's not part of any country. Bir Tawil is that land. This 800 square mile area between Egypt and Sudan is claimed by neither Egypt nor Sudan. To understand why this is, we have to go back to 1899. At the turn of the 20th century, Britain had a large and rapidly expanding empire across the world. A large part of this empire was in Africa, where colonialism had taken root. Britain held a complex level of authority in Northeast Africa, and through that they got to decide that the border between Sudan and Egypt was going to be the 22nd parallel. The problem with this border was that it made no consideration for the placement of actual people. It just put a big line in the sand and arbitrarily split up tribes and people. In 1902, Britain decided to draw a new administrative boundary that put into consideration the use of land by various tribes. That way, tribes wouldn't be living in one territory and grazing their cattle in another. Fast forward 114 years and both territories are now fully fledged countries, no longer under British rule. The problem is, Sudan now recognizes the 1902 administrative boundary as the real border, while Egypt recognizes the 1899 border on the 22nd parallel as the real border. What this means is that Bir Tawil is south of Egypt's border, so Egypt thinks it's part of Sudan, while also north of Sudan's border, so Sudan thinks it's part of Egypt. This doesn't really create many problems though, since there's a whopping 0 people living in Bir Tawil. There's not even any roads or anything, it's just 800 square miles of nothing, ruled by nobody. This same border issue does create issues in other places though. The Halaib Triangle is 10 times bigger than Bir Tawil, and instead of being claimed by no country, it's claimed by 2 countries. That's because it's north of what Egypt thinks is the border, while simultaneously south of what Sudan thinks is the border. The 2 countries actually care about this piece of land because there are things. There's a road, and sea access, and 1,000 residents. Currently, the land is administered by Egypt, but let's get back to Bir Tawil. In his 2014 book, Alistair Bonnet said that Bir Tawil is the only place on the planet that is both habitable and unclaimed. The biggest unclaimed piece of land is the Mary Bird land, but that's not considered to be habitable land since, it's in Antarctica. There's one other area of technically unclaimed land on the Danube River between Croatia and Serbia due to a similar border dispute. However, practically, the land, while on a map not part of either country, is well divided administratively. Therefore, Bir Tawil is the only place on Earth where people might actually be able to create a new country. So what's stopping people? Well, not much. Scores of people have claimed the land as their own country, but if my video on how to create a country taught you anything, it's that it doesn't matter if you think you're a country, it matters if other people think you're a country. No recognized country currently recognizes any claim to Bir Tawil, likely because nobody has set up a government or permanent population in Bir Tawil. While the land is habitable, there's no infrastructure to bring in supplies to support a settlement. With it being a desert and all, agriculture doesn't do so well, so any prospective country founder would need to build a road or airport to bring in food. In addition, there really aren't any natural resources, so it's unlikely that any country established in the area would be self-sustaining economically. However, if someone was able to set up a democratic government in the area with a permanent population, it's entirely possible that they would gain recognition and they would be 197th country in the world. Or 194th, or 193rd, or really just depends on who you ask.